Hello, boys and girls. Undertaker Freak 1127 here, and I'm going to take a short break from my run to inform you all of something that you really should know. It's something you should know. It goes against everything that people in school will tell you and try and force you to believe. Goes against everything that anybody will really tell you about this country and the system of government we have. And it's really quite simple. This democracy, this great system of government we have in place, this democracy that they shove down your throat, well, I'm here to tell you, folks, that it's meaningless. I'm here to tell you that this democracy that we have in place in this country is 100% meaningless. And I have a little bit of backing proof for saying this. This sounds like a very radical thing to say, but I have a little bit of proof, and this is also very simple. The government shut down in Minnesota. The government shut down in Minnesota. Now, the governor of Minnesota, Mark Dayton, and some of their Republican legislative leaders were in a talk to make a deal, to bring forth a deal to close a $5 billion budget gap. And they couldn't figure anything out. And the Republican leaders wanted to add wording to the bill about abortion and other social issues that had nothing to do with the budget. The Republicans, of course, wanted to add crap that was irrelevant into it. That's what a Republican usually does. But I'm not going to give the Republicans all the grief in this because the Democrats are just as guilty here. Because in a democracy, your government can be shut down if the leaders you elected on both sides cannot agree on something or another. It was in danger of happening in the states. It's still at a federal level. It's still in danger of happening on federal level. And to me, that just seems so wrong. It just seems so awful to me that an entire government can be shut down just because two sides cannot agree on something. Everybody has to suffer. The constituents or the citizens, the general public has to suffer just because these two sides cannot agree. That seems so blatantly wrong to me. It's something I don't hear questioned a lot. Because there's so many people who consider themselves Democrats and there's so many people who consider themselves Republicans that they never step into the middle of the arena and look around and say, hey, wait, if we don't agree here, everybody gets fucked over. And the average citizens who are Democrat or Republican are warring with each other as well. Just as the politicians are warring with each other, the average citizens are taking to the forums and blogs and taking to anywhere they possibly can, warring with each other about these issues instead of trying to get things done. We have the two major parties in this country at each other's throats over a budget and other issues. Meanwhile, the smaller parties who never have a chance of getting elected, who may have decent, good ideas to change things, are getting ignored. They're being tossed aside. This just proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that this democracy we have and this government we have is 100% flawed, and this democracy is useless. It shall forever be known to me as a plutocracy, the rule of the rich, the rule of the almighty dollar. That's what it's always going to be known to me. But for schools and universities, especially schools at a younger age, to keep telling our kids that we have this democracy, they said that it's not perfect. I understand that. It was said long ago that this government we have isn't perfect, and we'll keep changing it to make it better as time goes along. Hundreds of years have passed, and we still have things like this. Over a $5 billion budget gap on the 4th of July weekend. That's right. Over the 4th of July weekend, the state shuts down. That means no zoos. That means no state parks, no recreation. None of that. Among many other things that would fuck over a lot of people. They have to suffer, thanks to the government. It just doesn't make any sense to me, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't make any sense. I know it'll never change. I know there's nothing I can do to make it change. I'm just trying to figure out why I'm not hearing more people bitch and moan and complain about how this government we have is touted. This democracy we have is touted as just so great and so grand and so amazing and awesome. But we have government shutdowns. I don't know. I wish I had more to say here. I'm just really trying to gather my thoughts here. I've said really all I have to say about it, but you know something. What would the founding fathers say? If they were still alive today, what would they say if they took a look at the federal government and saw that it was nearing a shutdown? If they saw a government like Minnesota's shutting down, all because the two sides couldn't agree? I always wonder what they'd think. Sure, they had their differences. Sure, that they couldn't agree on everything, but they compromised. Remember, it's a give and take that make a bargain go. Y'all remember that? They compromised with each other. What happened? Where is this compromise anymore? Is there even a such thing as compromise in politics? I don't think so. That's the big word I want everybody to remember, compromise. Because in the end, in order to restore the government, that the two sides will finally have to agree on something they'll absolutely have to. It just seems like that's a lost art. It's just a lost word, compromise. Two sides at each other's throats compromising to find a middle ground for the benefit of the people that elected them. Sounds good to me. Must not sound very good to them. Undertaker Freak 1127. Have a good day, folks.